Howdy folks, hope you're all having a good one, and welcome back to World of Warships with Rear Admiral Jingles. Today's video sponsored by CuriosityStream. More on that later. For now, let's crack straight on with the battle. This, I think, is the first time I've ever featured a convoy mode battle. And I'm not sure why, because these things are a lot of fun. I don't think too many people would disagree if I was to make the claim that the convoy mode is probably one of the best and most fun additions to World of Warships in recent years, alongside the reintroduction and revamping of the operations mode. In fact, you could probably think of convoys as sort of like player versus player operations. It's a genius idea. I don't know why it took them so long to think of it, but I'm glad they did. Well, anyway, the star of today's show is Bewitchy here in the, well, surely you all know this ship by now. It's the German Schlieffen, the Tier 10 battle cruiser. Great guns, it's fast, it's got torpedoes, it's got hydro, it's got no armour whatsoever. It's a very, very good ship. A bit of a glass cannon. I mean, we're not talking cruiser levels of armour here, but it's definitely not well armoured by battleship standards, and it doesn't have a huge amount of health either. Not the kind of ship that reacts well to being focused down. It's not really a brawler either, not in the traditional sense. I mean, you can brawl in this thing. It's got great secondaries as well, and the torpedoes can often be the decider in a close-range engagement. But let's just say if you do get this thing into a brawl, you'd better win it quick. Because it doesn't have a lot of health, and the armour is kind of terrible. So, convoy mode, for those of you who have never seen it before. If you look at the top of the screen, you can see there are two sets of 3 health bars, 6 in total. These represent the 6 convoy ships, which the defending team have to successfully escort to the convoy destination point. Bewatchy is on the attacking team. In order to win, they have to sink the convoy ships before they reach the destination point. Bewatchy's team have one advantage. If you look at the minimap, you can see the red lines that indicate the routes that are going to be taken by those 2 convoys. So, pretty straightforward. But as usual, the devil is in the details. Taking a quick look at the matchmaking, this is actually highly unusual. I mean, no carriers, only 1 submarine, but more unusually, no destroyers. It's just cruisers and battleships, which I suppose is good news for the battleships. And not such good news for the cruisers. As far as radar is concerned, there's at least 1 radar on Bewatchy's team, the Moskva. The Austin doesn't have radar. The 2 Neptunes might have radar, but probably won't. As for the enemy team, no idea. Once again, the replay's bugged, so I couldn't see what they had. But the lack of radar isn't really going to be that much of a deciding factor, because there are no destroyers in play. Bit of a good news, bad news situation there for Bewatchy as he's crossing the gap between these 2 islands. He was momentarily air spotted just before he crossed into the patch of open water, and then he went undetected. But of course, the second he pushed into the gap, he got air spotted again. And now, once again, he's undetected. That could have gone very badly for him. There is a grosser curve first over to the west who would have had a shot at his broadside. But he wasn't visible for long, and the grosser curve first would have only been able to really take advantage of it if he was looking this way at the time. And judging by the lack of shots heading in his direction, he almost certainly wasn't. He's starting to soften up the Minnesota over there with his secondaries, but then, well, just as quickly, everybody goes undetected. There is a smoke screen over there, which either indicates the presence of a smoke-capable cruiser, or it could be an exhaust smoke from the Cristoforo Colombo. The bad news, of course, is that none of them are spotted, and Bewatchy is. And on that mild cliffhanger, I'm going to take a minute to talk about today's sponsor, CuriosityStream. CuriosityStream is my preferred source for award-winning shows, documentaries, series, and films that you just can't get anywhere else. And for once, that's not just marketing talk, because the documentary running in the background, Apocalypse World War II, you would never see anything like this on YouTube, because it does not shy away from showing you the horrors of war. And if you try to put something like this on YouTube, YouTube would have a fit. It's a series of 6 documentaries. This is the first one, Aggression, and it is very, very good. I can't recommend this series enough. And CuriosityStream has original content like this coming out every week, with subscription plans starting at less than $5 a month. In fact, you can get started for even less than that by taking advantage of today's sponsorship. Just go to curiositystream.com/mightyjingles or scan the QR code appearing on screen, and you get unlimited access to the world's top documentaries and non-fiction series. And if you use the promo code MightyJingles, you'll get an additional 25% off. So click the link below or go to curiositystream.com/mightyjingles and get yourself that 25% discount right now. Meanwhile, enemy Napoli's been spotted, an extremely aggressive enemy Napoli, possibly way too aggressive for his own good. But Warships gotten his torpedoes away down the gap, he's got his hydro running, and the hydro may be encouraging that Sovietsky Soyuz there to be possibly a little bit too aggressive for his own good too. I mean, the Sovietsky Soyuz is a very tough battleship in a way that, well, the Schlieffen absolutely is not. But I'm not sure he's going to be quite as tough as he thinks he is. He may require some assistance. Thankfully, the watch is on the case. He does not want to sit here broadside onto that lot, though. Yeah, the Baiji popping up there was a bit of a nasty surprise, but he got away with it. And he's managed to land a torpedo on the Cristoforo Colombo, and, well, his exhaust smoke isn't going to save him at that kind of range. The secondaries are starting to stack up the damage and the fires, and he doesn't have a clear shot at anything other than the superstructure with the main battery guns, and, well, disappointing damage, obviously, but better than nothing. Now, remember, red team here on the defending team. They have a convoy to escort. If they have any kind of sense, they're going to be up here, ahead of the convoy, taking care of, well, the attackers, or at least that's the plan, until the convoy sails into sight and can be targeted. So the pressure is on the defending or escorting team here. They really don't have the luxury of just being able to park up behind an island and snipe things at long range. They have to keep moving because the convoy is going to keep moving, and if they let the convoy get too far ahead, they won't be in a position to defend it. The Sovietsky Soyuz is taking a bit of a beating, but he does have 4 ships targeting him, and honestly I'm surprised he's lasted this long. Oh, he's about to not last much longer. The friendly Moskva has taken out the Napoli, which has taken some pressure off the Sovietsky Soyuz, but it's the Montana at the other end of the map who's the first casualty. But look at all of these targets. Oh baby, a triple. Okay, the Soyuz has gone down, so the enemy team are technically ahead, and they're going to start focusing on our hero in the Schlieffen here, but look at these targets. Just look at this. Did we mention the Schlieffen has torpedoes? And absolutely brutal secondaries too. Oh yeah, look at the carnage on both sides. I mean, ships are dying everywhere here. This is the beauty of the convoy mode. You can't afford to dick around, because those convoy ships are going to keep moving whether you're in a position to defend or attack them or not. It really forces the action to keep moving along, and speaking of convoy ships, here they come. In fact, one of them's already been sunk, now 2. Things are not looking too good for the defending team, or perhaps I should say the escorting team. They've certainly, I mean, that poor old Minnesota. Secondaries on the convoy ships, primaries focused on the Minnesota, who has all kinds of problems. I mean, the Minnesota isn't a terrible ship, it's certainly got decent guns, but oh, and there goes another convoy ship. Go gadget secondaries. But if you're in the Minnesota, or for that matter the Vermont, and you suddenly find yourself out of friends, you ain't getting out of trouble fast. Not in one of those things. It's around about here where Bawachi finds himself in his first real brown trouser moments. Now, coming around the corner of the island here and facing off against 4 enemy ships at once was not actually a brown trouser moment. He's angled nicely against the Minnesota's guns. You notice the secondaries are now firing on the unengaged side of the ship, because the unengaged side of the ship is now also an engaged side of the ship. Yep, here comes the enemy submarine. And I have no idea how he... I mean, how the hell do you screw that up? You missed with all of your torpedoes at a range of about 2 kilometers. Wow. And there goes the Minnesota. There are now only 3 surviving convoy ships, although Bawachi's team have suffered 5 casualties. I mean, they have not had this all their own way. They've dominated at this end of the map, but the enemy convoy, I suppose for want of a better word, and its escorts have been doing just as well at the other end of the map. There's still 4 of them left, and there are some serious heavy hitters amongst them, and they still have all 3 of their Liberty ships on full health. Now there's an equal number of friendlies up there, 4, trying to hold them back, but, well, there's only one tier 10, that's the Conqueror, and it's being focused down heavily and has just died. That leaves a pair of tier 8s, a Bismarck and a Hipper, and a Neptune. Now they're going to do what they can, and by the rest of the team, Bawachi included, time to get up here and hopefully catch them in a crossfire. He's already in secondary gun battery range. Wow. The old Ignacio... Oh, wow, a Citadel. Yeah, he's in a tough spot. I mean, he stays where he is. He's in cover from the Hipper and the Bismarck, and he can tank the frontal armor piercing from the Neptune, but then he gets spanked, well, like that, from the flank. And I don't really think he's got time to move out of there. No, he's dead. Right. 1 down, 3 to go. Plus the 3 convoy ships as well, of course. Now Bawachi really has to start thinking about his own safety. And that Henri over there, the French tier 10 heavy cruiser, is definitely the biggest threat. Because the further forward he sails, and he has to catch up with the convoy, the more of a crossfire he's sailing into from that French tier 10. Extremely heavy cruiser. He's got the hydro running, which is absolutely the correct thing to do when you're chasing after a French cruiser, because it is going to be launching torpedoes at you, and if you're running towards the torpedoes, you will have very little time to get out of the way unless you're running the hydro. I don't actually know what the torpedo range is on a French cruiser. I mean, most of them have a 9-kilometer range, so it's safe just to assume around about 10 kilometers and sail accordingly and just... Oh, no. Oh, dear. Oh, Bawachi. And it was all looking so good. You even had the hydro running. And it was obvious that he was going to be launching torpedoes, and you still managed to catch one of them. Still, it was only one. But look at the secondary hits stacking up. That's 111, 100... You're just showing off now, aren't you? If the secondaries don't finish him, and they might, the main battery guns will, because it's probably only going to require... There it is, 1 hit. Good enough. Right. 2 enemies remaining, plus the 3 convoy ships they're escorting. The Yamato and the Bismarck. And right now, the Bismarck's looking like the juiciest target because he's on the lowest health. But it's a Bismarck. It may only be tier 8, but it's way tougher than a Yamato. And if that Yamato comes around the corner showing broadside, let's just say the definition of what is and what isn't the juiciest target can change dramatically. Convoy ship spotted, secondaries focused on him. Torpedoes away. And the Yamato clearly does not want to come around this corner because he knows what's likely to happen. There's a tier 10 German battlecruiser here that's going to spank his broadside and has torpedoes. And so he's loitering there trying to not die. And I'm sure Bawachi is entirely happy with that, because why fight the Yamato if you don't have to? What you have to do is sink the convoy ships. And the longer the Yamato lurks behind the corner refusing to come out, the convoy ships are going to keep moving regardless of what the Yamato does or doesn't do. He's managed to get 1. There's only 2 left. And the other 2 will be coming, which means the Yamato has to move out. And that is exactly what he's been waiting for. He still has to try to keep himself safe from the Yamato's guns, of course, but at the moment the Yamato's guns aren't even pointing in his direction. He ran straight into the torpedoes. Unfortunately, he was only able to get the rear turret firing. Oh, hang on a second. There goes... Well, there's a free heal courtesy of his legendary commander. He's just waiting for those guns to reload. The Yamato is definitely looking at him now, but he's reasonably well angled. He wasn't able to citadel him. Bawachi momentarily thinking about going for the convoy ship, but well, the Yamato's shielding it for a reason, and he was incredibly unlucky to not score citadels on the Yamato there. And I'll bet his butthole was puckering, knowing that the Yamato was about to return the compliment, until Iwami to the rescue. Yamato down. Secondary's been focusing down that Liberty ship this whole time. There's the last remaining Liberty ship. The Bismarck is on low health. But it's a Bismarck, it's tough. You're never going to citadel at this range, so play it safe. Take out the Liberty ship and win the game. 10 kills there, by the way. Okay, admittedly, 4 of them were Liberty ships. But 6 of them weren't. And 6 kills is impressive in any game mode by any standard. And of course, along with those 10 actual kills in total, He got 13 fires, 2 citadels, 9 torpedo hits, and this is the funny part, nearly 1,000 secondary gun battery hits. Honestly, this ship is hilarious. I mean, it's easy to suck in it because it's got no health and no armor. But in the right hands, this ship is just absolutely comically good. So congratulations, Bawachi. An extremely good result. Very well done. And thank you not only for that, but also for serving as the introductory video, at least on this channel, to the Convoy battle mode. I hope you enjoyed it. And as always, take care. And I'll catch you next time.